Hey guys, it's Peter and welcome to my channel. Peter likes books. Okay, so I am in Chicago for the weekend. If you haven't been following me along, go back to my channel and go follow my vlogging for this weekend. I already did a vlog from yesterday on my travels up here and I went over the Bridge of Death and it was so exciting. And I vlogged this morning. I haven't put that up yet, obviously. And then I went to this bookstore and I didn't vlog it at all, so I'm going to show what I bought from the bookstore. That's my haul. And then Alex and I did like this little conversation here, just right here on the bed, where I asked him about books and things like that. So, if you want to see more of my husband, because a lot of people commented on him in the comments from yesterday, he and I had a little discussion about books, because I thought, you know, I mean, this is BookTube, so, right? So anyway, so here's the deal. I wanted to go to, well, backwards, rewind. I wanted to meet up with Adotto from He Reads and Tiernan the booktuber this weekend because I was going to be in Chicago. And, okay, so Adotto and I, it just has not, like, it just hasn't happened. I slept in too late, and then he's got something going on later, and we just, like, have miscommunicated. So that's not going to happen, but if I come back up here, we're going to meet up. And then Tiernan is out of town, supposedly, so he couldn't do it this weekend, and he messaged me today. So I had asked on Twitter, like, does anybody have any bookstore recommendations in Chicago? And Tiernan said, yeah, there's this bookstore that he's been wanting to go to called Afterwards. And so I was like, okay, and it was interesting because when I got on, like, the Around Me app, do you guys use that app? I love that app. There were, like, no bookstores in Chicago whatsoever. I mean, like, every sixth one would be, like, a legitimate bookstore, but the other ones were, like, Northwestern bookstore or, like, they were just very bizarre bookstores. They weren't, like, or, like, Staples or Office Depot. They weren't, like, really, like, bookstores. And, you know, you would think when you come to a city like Chicago or New York or London, that there would just be, like, bookstores galore, right? Everywhere, like little small bookstores and all that kind of stuff. But that's not the case, obviously. So, and then Adotto told me of one called Myopic, but I guess it's up in Wicker Park, and it's like a really neat used bookstore, but I'm not going all the way up to Wicker Park. So I went to Afterwards. It took me 40 minutes to walk there, which on my Around Me app, it said that it would take me like 10 minutes, and it ended up taking me 40 minutes in and out of all these different streets. I was so lost, and I have huge blisters on my toes now because I wore the wrong shoes, which I always do. I have these Sperry boat shoes on. Whenever we go to music festivals, I always wear like sneakers with no socks, and then I get blisters on my feet, and then the last 2 days of the music festival, my feet kill me. So anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. So anyway, I finally made it there, and then you will never guess. When I got there, there was this sign out front that said under construction, and I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I walked all this way for it to be under construction. So then there was a smaller sign that said, but still open, and I was like, oh, okay. So I go inside, and it was a really cute bookstore. Like, right to the left was like young adult, and middle grade, and like some picture books. But they didn't have a lot in their young adult section. It was literally like 2 bookshelves like this and then 2 bookshelves like that. What was interesting was that they had books that like you wouldn't find somewhere else. Like they had that George book, which is about like a transgender child, I think. And I've been looking for that book for a long time. But the thing is that they have their used books mixed in with their new books. So like that book was like $18 and it's like this thin, and I'm like, I know I can get that on half price or Amazon for like $4. I'm not gonna pay it. And then other books that they had, like they didn't have any David Levithans there. The only John Green they had was The Fault in Our Stars, and which whatever. I mean, but you know, and then they had like Cinder, but no more in the set. But then they would have like really random things that I had never heard of before. And it was interesting because Conan O'Brien was just talking about the new Brandon Sanderson, like they re-released his new books, and like they had those books there, the Alcatraz series. And the only reason I knew what those were because he had talked about them on his video or his channel. And I don't know if they were the new releases or the older releases, but they had all of them there, and I was like, this is totally random. So anyway, I'm like looking around and I'm like, where's the adult fiction? Like, because I had some adult fiction books I wanted to get. And I was like, where's the adult fiction? And I didn't see it. And then there was like a section on like performers and artists. And I was like, is this it? Seriously? And there's like this little guy like at the counter. And it was real nice. He's like, can I help you with something? I was like, no, I'm good. And I'm kind of like looking around. I'm like, this is the bookstore that I was told to come to? Like, seriously? 40 minutes? Blisters? I mean, come on now. So anyway, I'm total idiot. And so in the back, they had this huge room. And it was like wood floors. It was like very modernized, but like exposed brick. It was very cool. And it was like soundproof, and you could tell it was like where they had like for like authors to come and do like discussions or book releases or something. It just was a cool, I don't know, it was like, looked like a workshop-y kind of room. It had like a dry erase board and stuff like that. So anyway, right next to it, there was a staircase, and it said, look down. And so I go down, and there is this ginormous bookstore or downstairs, like just bookshelf after bookshelf after bookshelf, everything that you could possibly want. There was nothing there that I looked for that they didn't have. In fact, one book, which I'm going to talk about, I had looked up because I thought, well, it'd be fun to read something that takes place in Chicago. So I was like, what's like the best book that ever took place in Chicago? And there was an article, and it was like the top 40 books that take place in Chicago. And I had never heard of this book before. I'm going to talk about it in just a second. But they had it there, and I couldn't believe it. And it's by a local artist, or local author, I think. But it's like 15 years old. So anyway, they had everything, and they even had it like broken down. Like when I walked downstairs, they had this whole, I'm gonna put this on Instagram too. So if you follow my Instagram, it's Peter Likes Books. They had this huge bookshelf, and it was like all cat books. And it was like so, it was like really strange. Like they had like Indian cat books, and then they had like, who's a Japanese writer? And he wrote a book about like my life as a cat. They had like that. But then they had like the 9 Lives of Chloe, whatever. They had like all these random cat books, and some were used and some were new. Well, throughout the bookstore, they had all of these like different sections that were like that. They had like all of these pulp mystery sections, which I'm going to talk about in just a second, that I didn't even know some of these people. So they had like authors that they re-released them through this title called Hard Case Crime. It's like this new publisher. And it's all of these famous authors. This is so cool. I didn't even know this. That had written under pseudonyms before or during their writing career that we don't consider it part of their canon of writing. And they, like Stephen King is one of them, obviously. But then they had like Michael Crichton is one that I got. I'm going to show you what I got in a second. But they had all of these sections throughout the bookstore. They had a whole section on like jazz poetry, which was interesting because I took a class in jazz poetry in high school. And they, you know, like they had all of this different, like, they had a whole jazz poetry anthology all around the works of John Coltrane. And I didn't get it, but I almost did. Anyway, it was just really cool how this whole bookstore was set up. If you ever are in Chicago, you have to go. It's called Afterwards. Afterwards. And it is, I think it's 23 South Illinois. You have to go check it out. It's great. So anyway, let me show you what I got while I was there. And I honestly, you guys, I mean, I'm not even gonna lie about it. I spent like $70 on 5 books. I could have easily spent like $1,000, like easily. Like they literally, every book I looked for, they had there, which was, it's so strange because I have so many books in my TBR that I look for that I can't find, or they're very, very expensive on like Amazon and things like that. You guys are like you're right over my window, do you see? So I'm looking out at the lake and all of the traffic. A little exciting, oh my God. You guys that have watched my vlogs are like, we already know that. Okay, oh, there's my husband. Say hi, Alex. Hi. Okay, so let's see what I bought. You know what's so funny is, I used to be so weird about like doing videos in front of him, and now I totally have no problem doing that at all. Okay, so the first thing that I bought right when I got there was, I went downstairs, and the first section that I saw was like this crime novel section, and it's all of these new books that are released by Hard Case Crime, and it says brings you the best in hard-boiled crime fiction from lost pulp classics to new work by today's most powerful writers, all in handsome and affordable editions. The yellow ribbon represents your assurance of quality, and you can go check them out at hardcasecrime.com. Okay, so I didn't even know this, but Michael Crichton has written 7 books under the name John Lang. And it goes on here and it says, long before he wrote Jurassic Park, before he scripted blockbuster movies like Twister, before he created the groundbreaking TV series ER, Michael Crichton was an honors student at Harvard Medical School and writing paperback suspense novels on the side. under the top secret pen name John Lang. Lang wrote 8 books, between 1966 and 1972 and then vanished. Until 40 years after John Lang was born, Michael Crichton chose Hard Case Crime to bring him back, personally re-editing 2 Lang books, even writing new chapters for one of them. Now Hard Case Crimes is proud to bring back all of John Lang's works back into print for the first time in decades, and the first time ever under Michael Crichton's real name. So the first one that I got is called Odds On. Is the perfect heist about to go up in smoke? Do you love it? It's like the old covers, do you see? And this is about the plan to rob the Reina, a super luxury hotel off the coast of Spain. The crew, 3 seasoned criminals with the skills to pull off the heist of the century. The edge, every aspect of the scheme has been simulated on a computer down to the last variable. The complication, 3 beautiful women with agendas of their own and the sort of variables no computer can fathom. Well, it sounds like really good, doesn't it? So I'm gonna try his first one out. And yeah, my friend recommended it to me to read all the Ian Fleming James Bond books the other day, and I said which one to start with, and he said you have to start with Casino Royale. So I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to get Casino Royale. I'm kind of excited to get back into that as fall comes around. And then I'm going to show these in order that I found them. Then the next one was, somebody contacted me last night and was like, will you please read A Little Life with Me by Hanya Yanagihara? And so I just broke down, you guys, and I bought it. I've been wanting to read this forever. You know, it's about 4 friends in New York City, and I think one of them has a sexual abuse history from when he was a kid. It's 800 pages long. I think what I'm going to suggest, if you're watching this and anybody that wants to read it with me, there is no way that I can finish this in like 2 weeks or a month. I'm just not that fast of a reader, and I'm really, you know, intimidated by books. So I'm going to read this for the course of September and October. So if you want to read it with me, I'm reading it for the next 2 months. And then I just kind of happened to fall upon Feed by Mira Grant, which is a zombie book. It's one of 2 zombie books, and it's about how like this guy cures cancer, but then I don't know, something about he cures, I don't know, something about zombies, and you know I love zombies. And so the year was 2014, we had cured cancer, we had beaten the common cold, but in doing so, we had created something new, something terrible that no one could stop. The infection spread, virus blocks taking over bodies and minds with one unstoppable command: to feed. So yeah, and I'm excited about this. I've heard good things about it, and she has like 4 books out, and the other 2 that I almost read were, I can't remember what the other one was called, but it looked really good. So, woo. And then this was the book that was on the top 40 best Chicago books, and it was like number 6, and it's by a local author, and look, it's autographed, you guys. I mean, it should be for $15 by a local artist. It's called Hairstyles of the Damned. And it is by Joe Minnow. And I had to sneak under their construction section because the M's to the S's were stopped. I was like, I'm getting this book. So it's about this guy and this girl, and they're both like punk rock in like the late 80s, and they live in Chicago, and they go to a Catholic school. And just look at the cover. I love the cover. It's just gorgeous. And then on the back, can you see, like, there he is in like a, oh, I can't think of that outfit. What's that called? But like the plaid skirt, and like, I guess she's got the green Doc Martens. So I'm super excited about that book. And then the last one, you guys, I have wanted to read so much about, or I wanted so bad to read, is Patti Smith's Just Kids. And it's her memoir about meeting, what's his face. It's about the Hotel Chelsea and Coney Island, and back in the day when she was an artist in New York City, and Maplethorpe, and all of those guys. And I have heard so many great things about this. I was like, I broke down and I just bought it. It literally was expensive as hell. It was like $16. Oh, but it says new material within. And it has all these pictures and stuff in the back. So yeah, I'm super excited about this. I love Patti Smith anyway. She's just such a right-on cool chick. So, and my mom loved her as well. So yeah, that was my book haul. Can you see? I always think if I pause on it long enough, and then they'll make that my thumbnail. God, I wish, because I do not like to create thumbnails. I know how to do it, but who'd care? So anyway, follow along with me on all of my social media: Snapchat, Twitter, LinkedIn, which I don't use, Facebook, Instagram. And yeah, and I will follow you back or post stuff. And I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel. Why not? It's free.